Welcome to Human Powered, the podcast about creating a high-performing agency or consultancy business. I'm Trenton Moss, and today I have Julie Oxberry, co-founder of Household. Julie, hello.
Hello, Trenton. Hi.
So Household is a brand experience design agency in London and New York, and you co-founded the business 22 years ago. So obviously you've been going for more than 2 decades. Let's start there. In that time, what have you learned about what creates a really high-performing agency?
What really has helped us create a high-performing agency is our values. So our values are people first, creating with purpose and thinking brave. And they've really served us well. They cover all aspects of our work and our behaviours here. And I really think that the agencies that endure are those whose values don't depend on staying the same. So we haven't really stayed the same throughout our 22 years, but our values have. We really live by them with integrity. The other thing about certainly Household as a high-performing agency is it's not about the headcount, it's not about the office, it's not about our format. I would say that it's actually about the portability of our philosophy and approach. We can flex without using substance because our philosophy is constant.
Tell me a bit more about those values, and in particular, how have you kept those alive for 2 decades?
We've kept them alive because we really believe in them. When we first set up because we wanted to put customers at the heart of all the design work that we did. It really shows up in terms of our approach. And if you think about people first, they will always put people first before we think about how the customer is going to use whatever it is we happen to be designing. How do you create emotions for the people that you're designing for? And we follow that through into the way that we run the business ourselves as well.
One thing that you've told me previously is that Household is a place where people genuinely want to belong. Tell me a bit more about that and how you've deliberately built that feeling.
When we first set up, we called ourselves Household because we wanted to create a place that people would want to be in and people would want to come to, just like the places that we create for our clients. And it's not even just about places, actually. It's just experiences and environments. And that name has followed through. It doesn't mean just a physical space. It can be something centered around a mission or a conversation. Belonging, it's not just about a benefits list. It's structural. It's about being financially transparent to a degree, real ownership of ideas, letting people feel proud of what they're doing, trusting people with information. And we do trust people with a lot of information here, probably more than, many agencies might keep that at partner level. And also the sense of belonging comes from the rituals that we create on purpose so that people actually get to know each other and not just work alongside each other. One of our rituals is a Pecha Kucha. In fact, we did a couple yesterday at our company meeting. So what happens is we ask new householders to take 2 minutes to share something about themselves. It's really fun. It's really fast-paced. It's very image-led. Ends with a klaxon, like a dreadful sounding thing. But it's just very exciting and everyone gets a bit hysterical. You can do what you want. You can be as irreverent as you like. But it's designed to let creative people share ideas quickly. They use images, not loads of text. And it sounds small, but it's amazing what people show and tell and how quickly it gets the whole room actually knowing each other. So our design director, Frankie, yesterday, her theme was about statements that people that have made an impression on her through her life. So this could have been something her mum said, something that, I don't know, William Shakespeare, someone. So she used those statements to talk about how it's affected her and how that drives her on. We had another example of an ex-creative director, super achieving person who came in and his entire Pecha Kucha was about where he's failed, which took everybody by surprise, but it was really funny. And then yesterday, Rissa, our social media manager, she was dialing in for our company meeting from the south of France. And she talked about traveling and the fact that she has been in the south of France 17 times in her life, I think. She absolutely loves it. And then it led her to talk about her beginnings in Asia and so on. So it's, again, you got to see another side of someone and you really know what drives them, what makes them emotional. It's great.
Wow, the Pecha Kucha sounds fantastic.
Everyone should do it. It's so easy to do and it's brilliant fun. but I haven't done my own and no one knows it yet.
Well, your secret's safe with me, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pecha Kucha sounds really good, and I'm sure it's one of many rituals that you have there. Tell me about the other ones.
We start off every Monday with Start the Week. Everyone attends that. It's really a chance to share. Everybody shares at every level in the business what's coming up that week, either projects or pitches or anyone visiting or clients. All of that stuff gets shared. If anyone needs any help with anything, they share that. It's become a ritual because we've done it for years every Monday morning. Then we have the monthly company meeting where we share work and share ideas, and people might share trips they've been on, things that are relevant to our clients and to us. Because we operate across 2 time zones in London and New York, we have to be extremely disciplined with communications. Our weekly management meeting, which is on a Monday afternoon, really keeps both sides of the pond informed and talking together. So it's very important. So that our rituals are really about consistency, predictable moments, regular moments, alignment, and not just about ad hoc announcements. So everybody knows where the agency stands.
You mentioned before about trusting people with a lot of information and about knowing where the agency stands. What sort of things do you share with everyone?
Yeah, it's within reason because obviously you don't want to freak people out if it's not so good, and yet you want to share great stuff, but you don't want to seem like you are rah-rahing things unnecessarily. So the kinds of things that we'll share is that it's really important that everyone understands how the business is doing, where it's going, and so they can feel part of a unified team, and so they can think about what they can do to help. I think it engenders trust, which goes right back to one of our values. It's also, we're a B Corp, so it is part of a B Corp commitment, which requires us to be open about company finances with employees. And again, B Corp aligns with our values. We want to be honest, we want to have integrity, we want to share. And this B Corp assessment awards points for routinely sharing high-level financial information and performance updates with employees. When things are not going so well, then we must hear the message because we don't want to demoralise perhaps the more junior members of the team who won't necessarily understand the nuances of what's going on and the dependencies.
Sounds like it's a balancing act.
It's a real balancing act. Very much people here. We need to keep the framework so that we actually share but don't overshare.
You mentioned before that you want to share with everyone where the business is going. How do you translate that business direction into meaningful objectives for the individuals in the business?
We have a system of 360-degree smart reviewing. We have a line management system that runs all the way through the business. And the line managers review their line reports twice a year with 360-degree reviews. So the line reports, they can request who they want to comment on their performance. And the objectives are smart. So they're measurable, they're timely, and so on. And they're always tied back to the growth plan. The objectives aren't generic. They're rooted in our values. So it's not just what people have delivered. It's about, did you deliver it in the way that we actually believe in? Are you living the values? Do you feel comfortable? And then at the exec level, the objectives go straight into the year's growth plan. So there's a really clean line from the top of the business all the way down to an individual's goals. And everyone can trace their own objectives back to something real. It's not just a task list handed down. They know that it has teeth and it means something.
Oh, brilliant. It's a really thoughtful way of doing it.
It's very thoughtful, and the 360-degree reviews are a blessing. It's great because you get a really well-rounded view of performance from it.
Julie, you're obviously running a creative business, which is filled with creative people. And creative types sometimes have a bit of a reputation for being a bit difficult to manage. Tell me why you think that is, and then tell me how you believe you can get the best out of creative talent.
I don't buy that. I don't think they're difficult, actually. So I'm not buying that. I think that what gets called difficult is usually someone who is protecting the quality of an idea. And quite often it could be from a brief that wasn't quite ready or a process that wanted agreement more than it wanted a specific or a special answer. I don't think creative people are hard to manage, actually. what gets the best out of creative talent is definitely trust plus speed and giving people a clear commercial frame and then getting out of the way and let them move fast. And I could give you an example on that. We designed the Harry Potter flagship store in New York. And the feedback we got from our clients after this 3-year project was that what made the relationship work was our ability to listen, to read, and turn around genuinely time-sensitive requests quickly and flexibly. It was actually what a creative team looks like when they're trusted to move at pace and the pace that the work actually needs, rather than being the pace that a process demands. So the result was the customers described it as unlike anything else in the world. And you don't get that from people and designers who are being managed tightly. You get it from people who are being trusted completely. I don't think designers are difficult. They are passionate and they're smart and they want to do the right thing.
I can hear the passion in your voice when talking about this.
Yeah, I love working with designers.
So what is it, do you think, that managers are doing to kill creativity and make life harder for designers?
I would say that probably the fastest way to kill creativity is an unclear brief that keeps shifting. I think that's the thing that really can demoralize people. The brief changes every couple of weeks. There's no real budget committed to an answer, and there's no decision-making process that actually decides anything. So our team ends up doing great work into a vacuum, and that is exhausting for creatives. Creatives don't mind hard, but they do mind pointless. So I think what unlocks creativity is the absolute opposite of all of that. It's a client who genuinely wants to find the answer, even when it's difficult. And decision makers who are willing to back the work, stand by it, support it, and work in collaboration. Creative people don't mind constraints. I think what drains them is not knowing whether the work is ever going to matter. Creativity isn't fragile, but motivation is. And when people can't see that the work matters, they lose energy. If you protect it, the ideas flow and everyone's involved.
It's really interesting there that you're talking about. It's just make sure there's purpose behind the work and there's a meaning, and that's going to motivate people.
Absolutely.
And I know that when you engage with your clients, you've got this ethos all around creating fans, not customers. I'd like to talk about how you apply that internally. What does that mean, creating fans, not customers? And then how does that influence the way that your team works?
Fans, not customers, means that you're not designing for a transaction. You're designing for how someone actually feels about you, whether they choose you again, whether they recommend you, advocate for you, defend you. And that's true of the brands that we work with. So that's why we say fans, not just customers, because customers can come and go. A few years ago, we realized we need to start asking the same question about ourselves. So your question to me, Trenton, is so spot on. Are we building a team of employees or a team of fans? And I think the difference matters most when things get hard, because a fan relationship will survive change because it's built on trust and it's not built on things staying the same. So when we're working together internally, it needs to show up as real transparency about the business, including the numbers, as we said earlier, but including the hard calls and so on, because you can't ask people to be fans of something they're not trusted to understand. And it's really shaped how we communicate and how we share ownership of ideas. And honestly, how we've had to have some tough conversations recently. So a fan sticks with you through a difficult chapter. A customer just walks. And I think that's the link between building a fan team internally.
It's about galvanizing everyone together.
It's about galvanizing everyone together and being genuine.
And I know another thing that's important to you internally is about creating an environment of entrepreneurialism. Tell me more about that and how you make sure that your team's ideas actually come to fruition.
We've got such an innovative team and they are bursting with ideas. But of course, the thing about being an entrepreneur is you've got to think about those ideas become something of value and real. And my job as an owner with my co-founders is to build the conditions where our team's ideas become real and become revenue-bearing things. So I can give you a couple of examples. One is a strand that we are developing called Return on Experience Innovation. It was been largely developed by our executive creative director. It's got financial return for our clients at the heart. It's not an afterthought. And it links back to my earlier point where creatives thrive when they know that their work is going to matter. Return on innovation, that is an approach that we have been using with a number of clients, and it's great. It helps them de-risk what they're about to do before they commit to it. We also have a tool called Fanalytics, which is our own tool, which is built by the strategy team. And that combines data with commercial thinking. That's what entrepreneurial environment looks like. It's not about generating more ideas, but it's having a team good enough and trusted enough to turn the right ones into something a client will fund. And I feel really proud of the tools and the initiatives that our team has been developing. It's great.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's not just the ideas. Ideas are cheap, execution is everything. It's coming up with those ideas and then making them happen.
Yeah.
And something else that's important when working with clients is not just delivering really great work, but also making sure that your clients think you're delivering really great work and having everyone be very strong with clients. How do you make that a thing within Household?
We actually apply the same fan, not customer lens to our client relationships themselves. Understanding what a client personally needs to look good for, not just what the brief says. And I think that is really important. So it's about collaborating with clients. It's about relationship fluency. You can train people to have great presentation skills and so on, but actually that's not necessarily a key lever. The better approach is treating a client relationship as a shared design problem. So you remove the barrier between our team doing the work and the people buying it, and that's when you're going to get the success, and that's when they really believe in it. So quite often what we'll do is we will run tissue sessions when we're pitching. We always like to have a tissue session because you're sharing unformed, rough creative thinking with clients early on before it gets polished. And a lot of designers don't want to do that because instinctively they don't want to reveal it until it's perfect, because it feels maybe like exposing a weakness rather than process. But clients really love it because they're not being sold a result. They're being invited into the thinking. And it's really important. And I think this collaboration point is critical here. It's when a client stops being a buyer, starts being a collaborator.
Julie, you've been running the business for 22 years. You've been a leader of the business for 22 years.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how your leadership style has developed, and in particular, what mistakes have you made along the way as the leader?
Oh my gosh, how long have you got? The first thing I will say is I caveat everything with this. We're still learning. Of course we are, everybody is. One habit that I've tried to break is waiting till we're completely certain before saying anything. I think owners often want the finished plan before they'll speak. I really believe that clarity comes from moving and not from waiting for certainty first. So in an SME like ours, the rumour mill starts creaking and everyone feels uncertain or uncomfortable if they're not sure what's going on. And that thing I told you earlier about us sharing stuff. So it's better to be straightforward. And in truth, nothing's perfect. You just have to be true to yourself, true to those values again. I think another thing linked with that is something that I've learned is don't wait to feel ready. Some people think that creating something meaningful is you've got to know exactly what you're doing. But unless you dip your toe in the water, you're never going to see how that water separates. You just need to dive in and get going. And I think it's only by taking that first step that anyone ever makes any progress. So my learning from that is it's okay to make mistakes along the way, because that's how we learn what works and what doesn't. I think another big thing that we've learned is to lean on your co-founders. We set up together for a reason. And when you're going through a challenging time or have a decision to make as a founder, the most important resource is your co-founder or your co-founders. We sometimes think that when we're going through these things, it's uniquely on our own. But the question isn't usually, how am I going to solve this? It's who's going to help me solve this? And once you've got the answer to that, you can always get to a solution. So your co-founders are your best asset, really, but you have to trust and believe in each other and value each other's opinions.
So much wisdom there.
Oh, do you think? Yes. It comes with age, Trenton.
Can you tell me a bit more about when you were talking about there about not holding back and not waiting for when things are perfect.
I think an important thing is to step back in order to lead. And there's a real difference in being a dominant person in the room and being influential. You can be influential, but not the heavy voice at the front. The truth is, we're not going to build great future leaders if we don't let others shine and build them up. In creating our exec team, that was a real example of stepping back in order so that they could step forward. We're always here, and it's not easy as owner managers. So in truth, maybe the team would like us to get out of the way more, but we're all learning all the time. And especially if you bring in new management that hasn't come up through the ranks, then I think we need to be there, but we need to let people shine. So I think creating our exec team was a key moment for us.
And Julie, you shared so many wonderful things. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Tell me a bit more about what's next for Household and what's next for you.
For Household, lots of exciting things. What's next is just getting better and better at what we specialise in. And as we've gone through the years, sometimes you come away from your core, but actually I think about our core being retail experience design. We bring hospitality, entertainment, sport into all of that. So we are just really looking forward to what retail now means, extending our ROX methodology into new categories. So travel, motorsport, entertainment with retail at the heart. So that's the thing that's exciting the business, because when we first set out, I used to draw a little square and say, we design shops, almost that. We're designing right through everybody's journey into things that people love doing and love spending their lives doing. We're looking forward to getting involved in different sectors. And you asked what's next for me. 22 years of running an agency, I really love promoting the agency outwards. I love it, love our people, I love what we do. I feel really passionate about it. I feel really strong about the whole piece about brand experience, getting out the digital and getting into the whole experience world. That's the way the future is. So I'm loving being involved in that, promoting Household outwards. The other thing is ensuring that our key players are there to receive the baton.
What a lovely way to end the podcast conversation. Julie, thank you so much for joining. It's been so lovely talking to you today.
Thank you, Trenton.
You've been listening to Human Powered, the podcast all about creating a high-performing agency or consultancy business. Thanks for tuning in.